Good morning. It's Free Patch Friday over at our gear website store. We have patches, we have our decks of cards, we have our Kalshnikov identification decks, but we have other things over at the store, including collectibles. Kalashnikovs are one of my favorite platforms. I've been a big fan of these things for a long time, and because it's so expensive and difficult to manage a giant collection of AKs, not that it's not practical or doable, just expensive and it takes a lot of room, I've become a big fan of the Bayonets. I started out enjoying the Bayonets in the early 2000s as we were able to start to build our AKs inexpensively on our own, either bent or inexpensively purchased receivers with fairly inexpensive parts kits and an availability of rare parts and complying with 922R, being able to build interesting guns like this replica of what? What could this be a replica of based on its handguards and its stock? Now the pistol grip is because I use it and I like that palm grip, but this is basically a German clone made on a G kit, made on a Romanian parts kit using a inexpensive US made receiver. Bulgarian mags which work, and the one thing that makes AKs awesome is their variety, the types and calibers and eras and types of manufacture. There's all kinds of neat stuff about them, and all of that is reflected in their bayonets. And the Soviets had a lot of attention to their bayonets, and there's as much or more variety to the bayonets as there are the guns. So if you're a fan of the Russian stuff, the Soviet, the Kalashnikov platform, or just the Cold War, the bayonets can be a reflection of the geography and the materials and the industry, the politics and the small arms. So we've got things like this example I've been showing, but of course we start off with the AK-47 bayonet. That's the bayonet from the first AK-47s. You eventually get to your Type 1s with one of the first uses of a type of plastic, Bakelite, and it's actually something else but similar to a Bakelite. Some of the first plastics, it's using rubber and metal, leather, and just infinite variations in the colors, the shapes, the combinations, the makeups of the various parts. That happens to be a Polish Type 1. You go from your Type 1s into your Type 2s and you get a transitional, a bayonet that is a Type 1 bayonet but a Type 2 scabbard, and then you get to your true Type 2s like this fairly rare German with an orange Bakelite handle, and you can see the uses and the development changes, the materials and the applications might stay the same, but the materials adapt and develop, and you get your Type 2s, and then you finally get into your unique ones, and then your AK-74s, the more modern. This one's from Bulgaria. You get some that are picked up maybe on a battlefield, maybe just from a training place, maybe out of an arsenal. It's hard to know. One of the neat things about the bayonets, besides just the era or the country or the type or the material, is the source, and learning about them. Finding out that at some point the Bulgarians may find it hard to acquire leather, so they start to make them out of this cheap vinyl, and that becomes a variety. You get to something like this German with a single serial number on it, and if I can find a striking difference, this one with an extremely long serial number on the scabbard. And again, just slight differences like that make collecting them really interesting. Get ones that were kind of common and potentially never issued, and I showed examples of some that are well used. So these are the kind of things that I found interesting in a replacement for actually trying to obtain and maintain a large collection of the Kalashnikovs themselves. But I'm finally selling my collection. I've been selling it off for a few years now, not stopping collecting. I've just literally got to a point where I was only missing a few bayonets. I had gotten the capacity. I had acquired most of the bayonets that were out there, and I'd like to share those with other collectors. I was able to complete my collection at its heyday with the help of other collectors, And when I decided to start selling it, the best pieces immediately went out to other collectors to complete their collections, not for profit, but to make those collections happen. I've got a lot of them left over. I did have one of the largest collections in the country, if not the world, for a while, and now that's going out, and we have it for sale. And to incentivize that, this month, every sale over $200 is going to get a copy of the Kalshnikov Bayonet book. This is a book that Martin originally sold for $60 and sells now on eBay and Amazon. We do have these for sale by themselves, but this is a copy of the book that Martin signed last year as he drives through in December of each year back to Texas from the Small Arms Review Show in Phoenix. I usually buy whatever books Martin has left whenever I have the money to do so. And we sat down at the truck stop and made a quick video, and we talked about Bayonets, of course, and Martin signed a bunch of his books for me. I have some of those left over, and while supplies last, if you buy some Bayonets, or when you buy Bayonets over $200 collectively over at the store, you'll get a free copy of Martin's book. We do sell the books independently. Additionally, you'll see that the background today are these two Afghan rugs, these war rugs, and these are made for souvenirs, or made for, they're just made for, what am I trying to say, souvenirs, but they're interesting. They're made in Afghanistan, I believe, and I acquired them over the years. I've got one from 2002, one from 2011. They both are basically the same layout. It's Afghanistan, some hand grenades and stuff. The good part are the AK-47s and the grenade launchers on them, and they're kind of weird, but we're going to say anyone who purchases a Kalshnikov bayonet this month, June of 2019, you're going to get the books if you purchase over a $200 bayonet, but anybody who purchases a bayonet will be in the running, and we'll pick somebody at the end of the month, and maybe on July 4th, and the winner, live or not, will be able to choose if they want the 2011 or the 2002 war rug. So if you're interested in grabbing some bayonets, we'll be posting some videos, some live chats about the stuff that's for sale. Everything you see here is already for sale, or it's already posted. And if you'd like to support what we do, and you're not a big fan of patches, but you think maybe having some of the first industrial and military use of plastics, along with metal, leather, and wood, designed for pretty much half of the planet to destroy us and freedom, and we're the victors. If you'd like to own a piece of that history that not only is from Germany and all, maybe Yugoslavia or Romania, but also out of my collection, out of a collection that I took years, used all my YouTube money and connections and travels and going to gun shows and interest in Soviet stuff to acquire the largest collection, and you can own a chunk of that and support what I do next, which is getting rid of the NFA, bringing the Second Amendment media together, changing the freaking world. Purchase things over at the Gear Website store. It's Free Patch Friday. We'd appreciate your business, and you'll get some free patches.